Kenyans whose loved ones were stuck in Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the coronavirus, had 3 months ago petitioned the government to evacuate them due to the worsening situation there. Now, earlier this week, the government brought home 167 Kenyans from Guangzhou, but the flight from China only had a few returnees. Some, especially students, opted to remain in China. Our very own Kadzo Gunga caught up with a parent who has 3 children in Wuhan, telling a story of why they did not return home.
Fear and anger in equal measure.
We want the government of Kenya to do the right thing and bring our children back.
The coronavirus situation was getting fluid in Wuhan, the epicenter of the virus. And when the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths began to rise, the government of China placed Wuhan under lockdown. Franklin Asira, a parent of 3 children who are in China, was among those asking the government to evacuate their loved ones.
I was filled with a lot of fear. The fear of losing children after you worked so hard to get them to where they are today, and then all of a sudden you hear something that you cannot control happens and you lose them. For me, that was a bit too much, and I really, really wanted the government to bring the children back.
But when the KQ plane touched down at the JKIA on the 10th of May, his 3 children were not among the 167 people who were brought home by the government.
All of a sudden, after Wuhan has opened up, the cases of COVID-19 are much fewer. People are going about their normal businesses. Although universities have not reopened, then all of a sudden the country has found a way to evacuate people from China. I felt that's not for us. It's not targeted for the students.
Franklin has not set eyes on his children for 3 years, but thanks to technology, their communication has been made much easier. He is able to talk to them through video calls.
Now, your school has not told you when you can go back.
Franklin lets out a resigned sigh as he contemplates the future of his children. He is hopeful that by July this year, all his children will come back home as graduates.
The school fees for their final term is due immediately. It is almost twice what the ticket to come home would be. Okay, because one, our monies are very scarce. They come very hard. So when we were asking for evacuation, that time there were no COVID cases in Kenya. Kids would have come back home, and maybe the quarantine would have been the self-quarantine, because that's what we began with, self-quarantine. And self-quarantine would have been a very easy thing for me. If I look at a situation whereby my kids come, and then instead of paying the school fees, I'm paying some hotel for God knows how long. It doesn't sound practical to me.
He is calm now compared to 3 months ago, praying that the e-learning that they have started in their universities is good enough to see them graduate on time. Kadzo Gunga, Citizen TV, Nairobi.